So today we're going to talk about how you can conduct your own internal empathy interview. By the end of this video, you'll understand how to design systems for your life that stop punishing you for being human, and you would be able to actually meet your own capacity, your rhythm, and your own joy. To build a better system for yourself, you'll have to start with yourself as the end user and collect some data. What I love about design thinking is that at the core, it's about empathy. And what you may or may not realize is that empathy is in fact our greatest strength as human beings. Throughout time, they've actually done research to show that our ability to have empathy for one another is increasing. And part of the reason why we're feeling so overwhelmed these days is because we're actually feeling. We're feeling everything. We're feeling the suffering happening around the world, and the impact that that's happening on our bodies and our systems is sometimes just too much. But we start with empathy in design thinking because we really want to understand how we can develop a system that's better for the end user. And in this situation, that end user is you. And so if you were designing anything, right? A building or a structure, you're always going to think about who's going to be in that space, how they're going to move, and what their experience is going to be like. So you'll be doing that for yourself. Sometimes we forget to empathize with ourselves. And so we're going to be designing the protocols and the systems that allow for you to have the best life experience. Welcome. My name is Kalima Fergus Ayele. I am an educational school leader. I am also the CEO and founder of Round Trip Ticket Home. Sometimes people ask, why is your company called Round Trip Ticket Home? So in order to explain, I have to give you a reminder of quite a popular myth in our current reality, and that's the story around the Wizard of Oz. So this story follows the journey of a young woman as she goes through this wild and wonderful world. She has her companion with her, a little dog, but she also makes some very important friends along the way. The Scarecrow, who is looking for intellect, the Tin Man, who's looking for his heart and compassion, and the Lion, who is looking for courage. And they're on this quest, essentially, to find the wizard, because they really do believe that there's this person, this entity out there that can give them the things that they're looking for. But in the end, when they finally arrive, they come to realize, much to their surprise, that behind the curtain is no powerful wizard of all, but just a scared little man who was lying and pretending all along. And so in that moment, they come to find out that everything that they were seeking, they already had within them. And so for me, that's essentially what Round Trip Ticket Home is. It's an opportunity for us to sit around the virtual campfire, if you will, and talk about how we can take ourselves on a journey back home. And by home, it just means finding a place of safety. So this process starts with you actually asking yourself some questions, right? So when do you have your highest level of energy? When can you do things that require the most cognitive demand? Are you really a morning person, or are you just forcing yourself into that schedule? And where throughout your day do you feel your energy peaking, and where do you feel it dipping? And so I want to just start off with just some of the misconceptions around this process, because many people would think that being empathetic with yourself is actually making excuses, and it's not. It doesn't mean you're lowering the bar. You're not lowering the standards for what you expect to create or produce, but what we are doing is we're getting accurate information about what our capacity is. And this version of ourselves allows us to really be in touch with what our needs are, what our limitations are, what our capacity is, and it just accounts for that part of ourselves. And so as I look toward my own upcoming transition. I'm going to be moving to Morocco in a few months, and I'm thinking a lot about what it's going to feel and look like for me to be settling to a new country, getting used to speaking and engaging in a different language, getting to know new colleagues, and also being in a leadership role as well. I've done this before. I am a native of the United States. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, but spent some of my childhood in the Caribbean. So I have some experience with what it feels like to exist and live in a culture that's different from the one that you experience at home. I've also lived as a Peace Corps volunteer in Tanzania. I taught chemistry at an all-girls boarding school in a town called Morogoro, about 3 hours in country in west of Dar es Salaam. And I've also worked at the American International School in Johannesburg as an IB chemistry teacher. I taught and worked in Lesotho at the American International School of Lesotho. And I also worked and taught in Cairo, Egypt at Modern English School. And so in each of these experiences, I had to navigate what the culture expected of me as I still tried to get used to what it was like to be in a new culture, a new community, and new job. And so in each case, designing my life, my relationships, and the rhythm look different, and it always will. And so one of the things that I want to remind us is that this future is not set. We can always decide how we want to change and move as life moves forward, as things shift around us. The more we can be flexible and adaptable, the greater the chance that we'll actually survive so many of the changes that we're navigating. Unfortunately, if it's too rigid, it's just like if you think about the bough of a tree, right? If the wind is strong and the bough is too rigid, it actually might break. And so you want some flexibility, you want some adaptability so that as those strong winds come, as they do, there's some flexibility and adaptability. I actually would like to also lean on nature. There's so many lessons that we can learn from observing the natural world around us. So I'll add in a little video at the end here with something that just came to mind as I observed the natural world around me. I hope you enjoy. I'd love to know what you think. And thank you so much for showing up for these conversations. If you enjoy this, if you actually prefer to read my reflections as well, please join me on Substack, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel as well here on YouTube so that you can continue to see these videos as they come up. It's been a pleasure being around this virtual campfire with you, if you will. I sincerely believe that one of the ways that we've survived over the course of our human history is by gathering around the campfire, telling one another stories. And so please tell me your story, what you're excited about, what you're designing, what you're discovering in your self-empathy interview, and I'd be excited to engage with you as well. So leave your comments below, and I'll see you next time. Bye. So in our conversations around sort of like friction points, I'm just noticing the ways in which this blooming perennial is kind of entangled in this dying leaf, and so might need a little help to remove that. Just the same way we might also need a little bit of help to remove some of the things from our experience and allow us to flourish.